Hello everyone. Welcome to Whittlesbot. Today we have Aaron with us, and let us know what has Aaron been doing all this while and what is he building. Hey Aaron, how are you doing, man?
Hey, I am doing way above average. Very nice to meet you. Very nice to chat.
Yeah, yeah. I've heard. I mean, you have been working with a lot of apparel brands, to be precise, and you have been helping them to grow. Can you take us deep into that, and why did you took this niche as your market?
Yeah. Well, it's a great question, and one that I would say really our first client was about 11 years ago, which was apparel. And just getting started, we thought it was best to serve everybody. So we worked in apparel. Honestly, about 30 to 40% of our customers were apparel. And then we decided, well, let's take anybody on. And that was okay. However, we just didn't really master anything. And I think that's the biggest difference, or the reason why we niche down is there's a book out there in a more of a podcast or a YouTuber anyway by the name of Noah Kagan. And he said, look, you don't have to be the best at everything, but you should try to be the top 1% or be the best in a particular niche or a particular industry. And so what we said was, all right, what are we good at? What is our team good at? What do we enjoy? And where can we make the biggest impact? And when we looked at this, we said that apparel was like that, right? We've got the best results. We enjoyed working with those brands. We really thoroughly enjoyed the types of garments that we were working with, or garments that we got to work alongside with those business owners. And so it became a no brainer to niche down to apparel. And we just became really good at that. I would say, for us, we would never tell everybody we're the best in the world at this, but we have been around for a long time and have seen a lot of things happen in this space and have had a lot of success with those brands. And so our goal is to continue to serve those people and continue to niche down. But it was a little, I would say, scary at first because we had to let go of a good chunk of our revenue on this bet, which was that apparel was going to play out. But that's how we really focused in on the apparel side of things and started working with that industry.
I think this takes me back to my master's in marketing from Toulouse Business School, Paris. I was working for an internship with Karl Lagerfeld. So, I mean, he was into apparel a lot, and at that point of time, he was booming as well. So, boiling down in apparel, are you guys into luxury brands, or what kind of brands do you usually choose? And what is your strength in branding for apparels?
Yeah. Yeah, we have quite the gamut as far as who we serve. A good chunk of them, if I was going to make some percentages like as close as I possibly can, we have, maybe 20 to 30% are like boutiques. We have another 20 to 30%, which is like streetwear. We have, 10 to 15% is more like luxury or high end market. And then we have some print on demand brands. So we hit quite a few angles or subcategories within the apparel space. We haven't necessarily niched down and said we're specifically an apparel marketing company for streetwear. We kind of look at them as a lot of the same, which is that it always comes down to identity. It always comes down to the aspirational identity of who do you want to become. And our focus and what we're best at, I think, is helping people to discover exactly who their audience is, who they are trying to serve with that audience and how they serve, and what do they actually sell. So you're not selling. Um, there's a brand that we work with that's out of Florida, and they want to be a family brand. They want to serve the moms, the dads, and the kids. And we said, okay, that's kind of hard, especially starting out because you're just focused on like trying to market to the moms and then the dads to buy for their kids and then for themselves. It's just they wanted to be a one stop shop. So it was a little confusing. And so we said, how can we reframe this? And what's our main avatar? Who's our main customer? So we knew that it was the mom. And so we started continuing to create content about the mom. But what did we actually sell? Well, we sold memories. We're selling memories and vacations in Florida. And so you could go at a resort, you could do anything else wherever the beach is, but we decided, hey, look, they're in Florida. We're selling memories, and because we're selling memories, we can paint so many different types of pictures. And so the moms want to create memories as a family. They only have 18 summers with their kids, and so family vacations, and we started creating content around that. And that's when it finally started to take off, because it was clear that this is the brand. If you have a vacation coming up and you have a family, this is who you should buy.
Sounds really great. I mean, do you strategize the whole content strategy for them from socials to ads? How does that work?
Yeah, we do. Usually we have them fill out some forms basically to gather information to get us up to speed with the brand. We understand who the audience is, and then we come through, and there's four pillars of content that we teach off of, that is kind of our framework. So you these four pieces of content are: number one, connection. And connection is about storytelling and getting people to quote unquote like you. Okay. Then you have what to do content, which is helping to build an authority for you. So what to do in a situation. So for that brand that we were just talking about, what to do when you're traveling with young kids to Florida, right? So we'd create content around that. We'd create a reel around it. We'd create a carousel of like what to pack and how to do this for the first time. So there's what to do that builds authority and it builds trust. Then we would create content that's based off of contrarian thinking or devil's advocate, or what we call a thought reversal, which is that maybe we create a piece of content that says you can't have a vacation as a family until your kids are older. You shouldn't fly with kids under 3 because it's just too stressful. So we would create content around that and say, actually, the best memories are this, right? And we could create content of, and we could use an image of a mom who's underneath an umbrella just holding their 1-year-old while they're taking a nap on the beach, and you've got another kid that's playing by the ocean, right? And so we can help create that picture. And
Right.
then the fourth pillar of content is where most clothing brands do and what they do, which is like try to sell, sell, sell. And that's more product and lifestyle photography, which is just happy people, happy, ideal, aspirational identity of a customer
Hmm.
in the real situation. So if they're on the beach, if they're going through Disney or wherever it is, whatever that family time is,
Mm.
then we're telling that picture, or telling that story through the imagery. But connections build the thought reversals get people to know you, and then the what to do gets people to trust you, and then you ask for the sale. And nobody makes a purchase unless there's a problem, and nobody makes a purchase unless they know you and like you and trust you. And so through content creation, that's what we help create.
That's a framework you have dropped down for a lot of brands to follow. I mean, that's the ultimate brand strategy, and any brand would can use it apart from apparels, I would say.
Yeah, they absolutely could. They
And
absolutely could.
coming to content creation through AI, how do you feel? Is it giving, I would say, giving authority in making good content?
Yeah. So to clarify, you're saying like how are we using AI with this, or like how
Yeah,
is
how are I mean, is AI going to really get that feel and touch than the normal case? Let's say 11's lab, video creation is being used a lot.
Mhm.
So, do you feel that particular content can get you reach for the brand, or it is always authentic content which is going to work?
Yeah, good question. I would say it's tough. We like to keep it at about a 60-40 or 70-30, like real content. And then from that real content, taking that photography or video and then using AI to multiply what we have. And that's the best case scenario, because I want to keep authenticity in the brand. I think the more that we go towards AI, the more that people are going to wonder, is something real? And AI is getting so good that some people cannot tell. However, I think it's a tool, and being able to understand how to use that tool is the advantage. And so we'll use AI as the tool to give us more creative to either run through socials or to run through ads. and it's been more of a mechanism, not the replacement.
Right, right. Sounds, I mean, that's the way I think it is going to help us to make content with mix and matching of both organic and AI content.
Hmm.
So let's say, Aaron, I want to start a streetwear brand. I mean, sorry, not streetwear. I want to start a apparel brand globally.
Hmm.
I want to launch a
Hmm.
brand globally. Which sector in today's market in 2026 is going to work? Like, in which category is it? Kids, men's, women's, street, luxury? Which segment is, currently the right spot to enter for me as a beginner or a enthusiast who wants to get into apparel industry?
Yeah, great question. In apparel, there's almost always a market, and I always tell people to go multiple layers deep. And so, right, you could start an apparel line, and the easiest answer, right, to give you the straight answer is you should create a brand that you want for yourself. Um, However, I would look at this as what is it in the marketplace that is needed for you? What's the problem that you solve? Because if you're your own customer, you're going to solve your own problem. Maybe you work out and you're like, there's not any great workout apparel brands that have streetwear type design on it. There's not a streetwear brand that really resonates with me as far as like representing who I am when I go to the gym. And so you could create that. I always tell people to niche down though, right? Because if you try to sell clothing to, let's say, a boutique, and you're like, well, I help, women buy clothes at an affordable rate, whatever. That's not, I would say, niche enough. Versus, okay, we sell to women who may be plus size, or we sell to women who are into slow fashion. They're not trying to have a new outfit every week. They're actually looking for staple pieces that can mix and match with everything else. But then you could go even deeper, right? So now we create a slow fashion boutique for 25 to 35-year-old women who are postpartum. Well, that's a completely different market than somebody who's just a boutique for all women, or the streetwear brand like we're talking about for the gym. It's like we're going after people who have an athletic line, who lift heavy, who are interested in like rock music, right? So now it's like we created a fitness brand for with cool like streetwear designs for people who like rock music. Like that layer of is deep enough that you can stand out. And there's a book out there, it's a great book. It's called Blue Ocean Strategy. You should be trying to create your own blue ocean. If you just try to create the next Gymshark or the next Represent, you're going to lose more than likely. But you can carve out your own piece, and it usually starts within here as far as like who you are as a person.
So you say the more personalized you keep it to the audience, the more you can, get better at it, right?
Yeah,
Right.
because you know it.
And
You know that audience significantly better.
very well. Yeah, yeah. You can get better at it by solving more and more in that particular, niche you targeted, right? And coming to branding, is founder-led brand strategy in apparel industry is the I mean, founder-led brands are always booming in all industries. What about in apparel industry? How is the founder going to take that brand forward? Even it is to be his strength, or how does he portray his brand to get users to buy his products?
Yeah, good question. I think people look at it differently than what they maybe should. And I don't like to use the word should, but the way that I would look through it myself is I'm not trying to sell the clothes. I'm trying to sell the the vacation, if you will, or the destination. I'm not trying to sell the journey, right? I'm trying to use myself as an example and say, this is the problem that I had. This is how we solved it. I would like for you to come on this journey with me as well. And really good founder led content is just good storytelling, examples of like showcasing what how the material is made. That could be a story. Showcasing the ideas and sketches of why it came to life. Again, getting people to buy in. Going through the problem. Again, if we go back to this fitness brand, maybe this is somebody who is a millennial and they love listening to alternative rock and they love that type of music. And they used fitness to get back in shape, to get themselves back into a place that they felt good about themselves mentally and physically, but they never had anything to represent them. And so now they use that apparel to help them get in shape. And so it's a strength of that person, but also the strength of like physically inside of the gym. And so being able to tell that story is the most important part because you're going to represent the ideal avatar, the ideal customer at that point too.
Right. Right. Coming to Gymshark. Gymshark, I mean, I use Gymshark personally for my, workouts and all of that. What is that strategy, or what is that Ben has used for Gymshark? You personally like it and you personally take inspiration from him.
Yeah. Well, I think the inspiration. So going to Gymshark, I think the part that's inspiring is the ability to recognize patterns and the ability to realize where there's a gap in the marketplace. So Ben, what he did was he said, this hasn't been done before. He knew that branding was truly association. So if he could get the product in front of as many people as possible who looked like his audience, so he used a lot of affiliates and influencers more than what, today we use them a
Yeah.
lot. And that's beginning to shift. But they were on the first wave of let me get this in front of other people and at mass showcase who this product is for and make it seem like it's everywhere. Everybody is cool if you wear a Gymshark. And he had so many ideal, like, or so many representations of the type of customers that he had. But I would say the part that's most inspiring is there was a gap in the marketplace. He saw patterns and it hadn't been done digitally in that way. And he found that and exploited it and used that to grow the brand.
Right. Now, I think times have changed. Then it was influencers who were, promoting these brands. Now I think it is all UGC content which is going to work. What do you think
Mhm.
about it?
Yeah. It's always been who is the ideal customer and do they look like me and is there enough representation of somebody who looks like me in the marketplace? Nobody wants to be the first person to try something if it doesn't work. Now,
Right.
there are people who like to be on the cutting edge and there are people who want that like for themselves, but it's a very small percentage. The majority of people want to know that something is legitimate before they do it. And the best way to show that you are legitimate is to have representation and many, I would say, walks of life of your ideal customer, showcasing and creating content for your audience. Because if you can do that, you can prove that this isn't just something that was started in the garage, even though maybe it was. It's actually something that's a little bit more farther along, and people are much more likely to trust it.
Right. Um, so coming to ads, let's get into the next segment of ads for apparel brands. How
Hmm.
is that, content, or we have talked about branding and its segments. When
Hmm.
it's coming to selling, what is that thing you guys have cracked in apparel industry that is going to help apparel brands?
As far as you're talking with ads, sorry, or
Yeah, yeah.
I
What
would
is
say
that
one of the
strategy
best.
which is work with a lot of your clients or brands?
Yeah, more tactically, and then I'll talk strategy. Tactically, if you're a streetwear brand or boutique, is just a flat lay of the product. A streetwear brand on asphalt and showing the product represented. Um, a boutique or even a streetwear brand on the rack content. That's the most basic that you can come up with. It's very easy. Everybody can execute that. And if you have good enough designs, I say good enough, that's because it's defined by the person who's buying. But if you can do that, then you can make some sales. Now, how you can expand that or how you would grow or scale is continue to create what's called top of the funnel content. Um, and the best way to do that is you could do partnership ads with influencers or UGC content creators. You can do a lot of content that's like us versus them. So if you are that fitness brand and you're similar to Lululemon, you could do you versus Lululemon. Um, but all of the content now, all the setup, it's very straightforward. Like we give all that stuff away like for free, even on our YouTube channels. Like the setup's easy. The part that matters the most is that the content now does the targeting. And so if the content does the targeting, are we being strategic about the content that we create? And so the best way to do this is to create content organically for TikTok and for Instagram. And the things that do well there are iterating and making changes for the ads and then putting money behind it because we have something that is proven already by social.
Right. Right. I mean, we are trying to solve this particular problem. We are building a tool called Whittlesback.ai. We're trying to solve this problem, helping D2C brands and e-commerce brands, not specifically any segment, to improve their ROAS by, how optimization works in Meta and Google. Regular optimization needs to be there to solve, to get your ad spend properly. So we are launching a first future, I think in the next month, probably first week, and I will definitely share it to you and let me know, how is it working with you guys.
Yeah, please do. Yeah, we have a community of almost 1,000 clothing brands that we work with and talk with. So, yeah, share.
Sounds great, man. And coming, I mean, why did I specifically wanted to talk to you is because you have shared an insightful video about Facebook campaign. How do you handle a Facebook campaign for an apparel brand? Can you? I think it was one of your reel. I do you remember that who you were talking about?
Probably, I say the same thing over and over again. So probably. So you're talking about
Yes,
like the structure of the campaign, or
exactly the structure of the campaign.
yeah.
Because
So
the thing
go
here
ahead.
is we have in my LinkedIn followers we have like around 30 to 40 apparel brands. I just want to meet their doubts about the campaigns. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very simple. Okay, so the campaign is literally one campaign. It's set up as a campaign budget optimization. So it just means the money is distributed between ad sets, which is typically what the targeting was done. However, we look at this as more now a different positioning. So, what's your position in the marketplace? Is this ad set? Is this focused on top of the funnel? Is it focused on a carousel? Is it focused on variations of like us versus them or features and benefits? And so each ad set is a different position. And then inside of that ad set, there are multiple ads. So you can have, you know, really quite a few ads inside of there depending on your budget, but it's variations of it. So if the position is we're going after new customers inside of an ad set, I would have a bunch of like us versus them. I would have, um, a founder's story. I would have all different variations of those inside of one ad set. So it's just one campaign ad set and then ads. And then whenever an ad isn't spending or isn't getting sales after basically about a week, depending on your budget, we're going to turn those off and put in new creative based off of the data and what worked previously or is not working. But yeah, very simple campaign budget optimization, set the budget, set up your campaigns, and then that's really it. There's not anything crazy magical about the setup here. It's very
Yeah,
simple.
right. Let's say I have $1,000 with me as an apparel brand. How do you like me to segregate it? Is it through influencer marketing? How much should I spend? How much should I spend on Google or Meta ads, paid advertisement? How should I segregate my spend in my for my brand, apparel brand?
Yeah, good question. I would only spend on one platform because $1,000 you can't spread across more than one. So I'd choose Meta. I would create a bunch of content organically. I would do a couple weeks of testing organically. I would take the winners from that. I would set up a campaign. I would do it at about $30 a day because I care more about consistency than getting running out of budget. So $30 a day will get me a little bit more than a month. Hopefully, at that point, I've got some sales that I can reinvest. I've got email set up that gives me back some profit that I'll put back into ads, and then I'll never turn off ads again.
Right. Pretty simple and to the point.
Mm-hmm.
Right. How is Google Ads, performing in the apparel industry? Is Google Ads more profitable than Meta Ads, or Meta Ads is more profitable than Google Ads?
Yeah, it depends on the industry, depends on what you're selling, and I would
I
say
think
in general, like
luxury brands work more on Google Ads than Meta Ads.
yeah, they both work. It just depends on what your strategy is. You're like, for example, if you have a custom suit, it's probably smart to have Google Ads and show up at the top for custom
Right.
suits.
Right.
Apparel on Meta is more impulse, right? It's disruption type of marketing. Google is very intent based. What
Hmm.
we see that does really well is doing a lot of meta that drives demand, which is what marketing is creating demand for something. And then by doing that, those people go and Google or there's information, and that data is, what makes it valuable for Google. But I look at Google as like a net that picks up the things that are left behind from Meta.
What's your favorite apparel brand all these years, working in this industry all these years?
I mean, I'll say that my favorite, like quote unquote, industry, or I would say segment, if you will, is just the fitness side of things. I wear a lot of it. I wear it every day. And then hats. We work with a lot of hat brands as well. So not really. I mean, I love a lot of I'm a big fan of apparel in general, but I would say the fitness, like I consume, like I use that every single day, and then I'm normally wearing a hat at any point. This one just doesn't match, but
Yeah.
yeah, usually I'm wearing a hat at some point. So, um, yeah, hats and fitness, those are my two.
Right. And coming to Pull and Bear, have you heard about it? Because I've been hearing about it a lot that it generates revenue equal to Zara and H&M.
What was the name of? Sorry,
Pull and Bear. Pull
I don't know
and
if I'm
Bear.
familiar. Pull
Okay.
and bear.
Yeah, I think it's an European brand.
Oh, okay, yeah, I've heard of it. Don't know enough to speak on it actually.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, what is it? A UK brand or where are they at?
I think it's based out from London or somewhere around Europe.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, heard of it. Yeah, but not too much there. I mean, the ones dominating right now, in at least in the UK and Europe and even the United States, is Represent. They're just blowing up. So that's probably the biggest case study there.
Right. And Lululemon, what is that strategy that Lululemon cracked?
Well, they served a very specific niche market. They knew exactly who they're going after. They're going after I mean, now it's a younger demographic, but they're going after the people who love the Starbucks drinks. They love the people who enjoy the thought and also do work out. But they created the lifestyle legging that you can wear them anywhere. You don't just have to work out. So they created and they broke into an industry where athleisure became a category. Like they essentially created the athleisure category where people can wear workout clothes as their everyday
Everywhere.
clothes.
Yeah, nice. But I think 11 years of experience, I mean, brings a lot to the table in a particular niche. I really like that how try to build a career in one particular niche and give value to your clients. That is the way I think uh, a best service and value you can give it to your clients, man.
Yeah, yeah.
And yeah, I think it was a really nice conversation. Usually I keep it short for 20 minutes, but I think went up to 30 minutes. And hopefully we can do a part two and talk about a lot of brands and about a lot of strategies. in the future for sure, man.
That sounds good. Well, I appreciate you having me on. Thank you.
Thank you, man. And also, I'll share Wittelsbach.a first future with you. That it the first future is basically revenue leak detection dashboard, where all the brands can check their revenue leaks, where they're spending a lot, or where their campaigns are not working, and it's a free future.
Okay.
Brands can just check it out and see if it can help them.
Okay. That sounds good. Yeah.
And I'll see you soon. And thanks for your time and thanks joining us.
My pleasure. All right, my friend. Have a good
Yeah,
rest of your
take
day.
care. Bye. Have a great day.